That is us, Young and Dundas Square, downtown Toronto on a Monday. Dina Pugliese off. She's back Thursday. Melanie Ingsitzik-Sero here with you. Do you like space? Good, because you'll like this.
Really cool interview. One of the top scientists in the entire world. If you remember in the headlines just a few weeks ago, we got images into galaxies far, far away. And we thought, what does this all mean? Have a listen to this interview, and hopefully that gets you the explanation from NASA. The James Webb Telescope is on a mission like no other, spotting secrets of space hidden deep in the universe. It is humanity's vehicle to exploring endless galaxies, a $10 billion project that took decades to develop. One of the top brains behind the operation, Dr. Eric Smith, the program scientist and astrophysics division chief scientist. And with a title like that, it is no wonder why he's helping lead NASA's greatest mission yet. This is all in a bid to answer the big questions, like what the farthest and faintest galaxies look like and which planets are habitable. And of course, the question everyone dares to ask, is there life beyond Earth? Dr. Eric Smith, good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining.
Good morning, Melanie. My pleasure.
Can you talk about this mission and what it took your team, the years it took, in order to even think about launching this one out there?
Yeah, so we started thinking about Webb in the late 1990s. And because we knew it had to be bigger than the Hubble Space Telescope, it had to be so big that it was bigger than any rocket. And so we had to fold it up to fit inside the rocket and then unfold it in space. And what that meant was that by the time it was all done, 26 years in the making, we had a telescope that had what we would call formally 344 single points of failure, any one of which would doom the mission. And so we launched. Now we have this amazing new facility to explore the universe.
What was going through your mind after years of work? You see these images. What do you think?
I'll tell you, my first reaction was I actually sort of giggled. They were so good, I couldn't believe it. I knew they would be spectacular, but they were so much better than I had even imagined. This thing is fantastic, and we were too conservative to think about what we were going to do with it. We've got an amazing machine to do things we didn't even dream of a week ago.
But for you personally, having invested so many years into this, were you a little stressed out?
So, because I've worked with this team for so long, and I know the talent, the worldwide talent that's involved in it, I wasn't probably as worried as many other people might have been. I knew it would work. I didn't know it would work as easily as it ended up doing or do as well as it's done so far. So I had great confidence in the team, and boy, did that paid off, because it is truly astounding.
Do you believe there is life out there?
Well, this is a complicated question, and Webb will give us the next step along the way to answering it. The first thing we have to find is, are there planets in what is called the habitable zone? So they have things like water and carbon dioxide and maybe methane in them. And that's what Webb will tell us, which ones are habitable. Then to detect life, believe it or not, we'd actually have to build an even bigger telescope, and we're starting to think about that now, that would look for chemical signatures of life, like perhaps ozone in the atmosphere of these exoplanets.
How long are we away in that when it comes to a timeline?
Well, we'll certainly know about the habitable zones probably within a year or two. And then that will guide our next study of the kind of telescope that we have to build to confirm that there's actually life on these planets. I think if you define life as simple self-replicating molecules, I think there's probably a high likelihood we'll find that eventually.
And why are these images so significant, and why should we be so curious?
Whenever we put a new telescope in space, we effectively give humans a new eye, a new way to see the world around them. I like to relate it to a story. My family was recently blessed with our first grandchild, and anybody who's had a child or is babysits or does anything with children knows the excitement. You can live through their eyes when they're discovering things, seeing new things about the world. This is a chance for all of humanity at once to see the world anew, and that is really exciting.
Right?
That's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we want to thank our friends at NASA. Can we can say that? Our friends at NASA.
Our buds.
Who took the time with us and provided all those photos and images and video. And I want to give a special shout out to Nick Holland, our Chats producer, who put together 10 versions of that story with our editor, Greg. 10 versions to get that one right because they're so specific. Where's Nick? Shout out, Nick. He's around the desk. Okay, you can't see him. He's over
Nick's
there.
being cussed out by the editor.
But yeah, great job with that. And it really does open your eyes to what is out there. So even if you weren't, say, like a space nerd, as you could call them, and he loved all of it, this really gets you thinking.